Another panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen, and that is going to be a technical session which is going to be chaired by the esteemed Air Marshal G.S. Bedi. Can we have a round of applause? And this session will focus on the opportunities for drone industries due to Government of India policies. We are eager to hear insights from our distinguished panelists. So one by one, I'm going to call all of them on stage. First up, we have General Captain R.D. Sharma, Skytex Technologies Private Limited. Okay, so once again I would like to call Air Marshal G.S. Bedi on the stage first. And then we'll move forward again by calling our panelists. As I mentioned, General Captain R.D. Sharma, Skytex Technologies Private Limited.
It is Group Captain Addition.
Okay. Next is Wing Commander Giriraj Punia, former CEO Drishya Government of Haryana. Then again we have Major General C.S. Maan, AVSM VSM. And lastly we have Sri Karandhal, Director, Theta Analytics. Okay, next up is Dr. S.K. Manjal, ADG ASI. So can we have a huge round of applause for all our panelists?
Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. And actually, my apologies last time when I spoke on counter, I didn't really ask you if anyone had any questions. Yeah, I'm sorry, I think I got carried away with myself. So now, if I take permission of the panel, I can have 5 minutes in case anyone has any question or doubt on what I spoke about 15 minutes before. Yes, please.
I just want to say thank you first for the information that you gave us. It was world class. And also these anti-counter drone systems, usually they are used at airports and other areas like you were talking about, aeroplanes. Do these systems affect the aeroplanes as well? And is there a way to prevent that where it's just, detecting and defeating a drone but not affecting other aircraft in the area?
Brilliant. You know what happens is because paucity of time, that is why I said that it's not one size fits all. You know, every situation will have a different kind of situation working. Now, just extending your argument, every topography of a place is not the same. You know, somewhere I may get a clear line of sight till 15 kilometers, somewhere I do not see beyond 2 kilometers. Similarly, airport, very fine example that if I come to jamming, let's say I want to jam a particular frequency, it is well possible that all the aircraft on approach or someone coming for landing or someone taking off also gets jammed, okay, or some other communication gets jammed. So you cannot employ those techniques. So anything of this jamming or frequency, wherever there is a spectrum usage, okay, will be specifically cleared for use in that particular area. Rest of the so mostly what works at airport is not the barrage jamming or something, but other like lasers. That is why the armed forces are getting into big way into laser is the preferred anti UAV system or counter drone system rather than any other destructive kind of material, because it focuses, it's very directional, and it affects only the target at which it is aimed. Right? Thank you very
Sir,
much.
sir, similar to this
No, we'll
question.
not eat into the time of this panel. Yeah, but last question, please.
1 minute. Similar to this only, I just wanted to, this just a basic question. Is it possible that one drone, you told that this incident happened at Heathrow Airport while landing, this one drone was wanted to see that what pilot does inside the cockpit and all. Is it really feasible that one drone can come adjacent to the cockpit?
Oh, yes. Why not? You see, what happens is he has to position it in a particular place. See, nobody would have detected the drone. Okay, it is just that when pilot is coming on approach, he saw this. Okay, that what is this? It happened in Gatwick also, not at one place, at many places, and I'm sure there must be many instances or incidents which are not reported. Google this. I mean, it's not a fabricated information. Just see drone at Heathrow or at Gatwick. You will get whole lot of information.
I think there was incident happening in Hyderabad. One man was going on the scooter very near to the aircraft, and that man got sucked away. So is it not possible that that drone might get sucked away in the engine and all that?
No, no, no. It of course it is dangerous. A bird hit can take place. You see, what happens is this enthusiast who's there is not a aviation knowledgeable person. You know, he is just living his fantasy. Okay, that he wants to see. He probably has no knowledge that if drone from what distance this drone can be sucked into the engine at that power setting. You know, there have been men sucked into the engine. Again, Google, YouTube pay that man while doing servicing he just comes the complete man while on the ground aircraft of a huge airliners he gets sucked in. So those are other things. We are focusing only on that what I mean I narrated that as an incident that what damage or what threat can they pose. Okay, and those were innocuous drones. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, coming to our current thing now. Thank you. About this government rules. Now, why are we talking of government policies and government rules? And I have very extinguished panel with me. You have been introduced by the speaker, by the MC. Now, just I will just say my piece that how I feel about these policies and rules, and then the panelists will, of course, tell you their piece about it. Okay, now it is becoming increasingly important. So far, we are talking of military drones, etc. The civil use of drones has not yet come into so much prominence. Yes, there is logistics drone. You have pizza deliveries. You have medicine delivery, organ delivery, etc. in places. But people haven't still started traveling from Gurgaon to airport in drone. Okay, which is going to happen very soon. Not only Gurgaon to airport, I just gave example because it takes maximum time, I guess. You see how the nature or how our infra is evolving. Sometimes back they say that when cars were manufactured initially, they were very high-end cars, only Rolls Royce and things like that. Because common people couldn't afford them, the road infrastructures never developed because it was not the common people who were using them. So associated infra never got built. Now what happened? Then cars became a normal commodity. Now we've gone to the other side of the curve so much. You see the traffic from, like I give example from Gurgaon to Delhi, every car is carrying a single person. 9 out of 10 cars have one person in them. Okay, same is the case with taxis. Okay. Now, it's not a question of only increasing traffic. It is affecting because your car is weighing 2 tons at an average. Okay. And if you put your expenses into that, you bought a car for whatever cost with life of 15 lakhs and put petrol into that and weight on the road, etc. The per kilometer, per passenger cost is turning to be very high on your automobile. So this is going to give way to air mobility because air is a medium now which is lying vacant, okay, as of now. And it is not going to remain prerogative only of the military. I am an Air Force pilot, a fighter pilot, okay, and I remember good old days when we were youngsters, I was flying officer or flight lieutenant, we didn't have to take many of the clearances to ferry a fighter from place A to place B. You just filed a clearance, drew a line on the map and just flew the line. Or exercises, when I said that, okay, I want to carry out a combat air exercise, no air traffic controller or nobody stopped you from utilizing your local flying area. It is not the case anymore. We are talking of shared airspace now. dual use airspace, because civil industry or civil aircraft became very, very prominent, and now it makes economic sense to have more airspace for civil use. So what happens now? And abroad it happened long time back. Europe or America or NATO, they could never fly over in their own areas. You know, they had designated exercise areas. We also are doing almost the same thing. So what I'm coming to is that tomorrow's airspace will not only be restricted to military drones, it will be full with civil drones carrying passengers. Okay, you will be traveling in those drones. So now this is why these government rules and policies become important. Now, why are we saying that? What are the problems with the policies? Now, there's a little trick here or shift here. You take aircraft rules 1937 is what we refer to. Your DGCA refers to aircraft rule 1937. And when did the first aircraft fly? I mean, Wright brothers, 1903. You know, then some use in First World War. Much before Second World War, the aircraft rules were written. What has happened in drones case? Okay, India bought UAVs post Kargil. You know, we got Searchers and Hirons, and then slowly, proliferation of drone, but only military got into it. I was, you know, in JNK sector when first time the Northern Command, you know, got into mass procurement of drones to be used for LECO kind of situation. So it was generally military using. So now what happens, slowly when civilian use came into being, so we made no rules, no policies of came drone. When did the drone policy came out? 2021. If you Google the major drone policy that how drones will be used is 2021. What I want to bring out is that these policies and rules in case of drones were not, written to enable flying of drones. What happened that people started misusing drones. So these policies came about to curb the misuse of drones. You understand the shift. One is that I want to fly drones, I don't know how to fly, where to fly, what to do. So you write a policy to enable me. You say you can fly there, you can do this, you can do this. Instead, if I reach a situation where I feel, oh God, people are misusing it. So what is going to be the texture of my policy? You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. You cannot fly in this zone, you cannot fly above this, you cannot fly above this. So the whole policy is, that texture becomes negative in nature, which now it's not telling you where you can fly, it tells you where you can't fly. So the whole interpretation or the look of it becomes, gives a different feeling. If the same thing was written in 2000, let's say, it probably would have been written in a manner that, okay, this is what you can do, this is how you will do, and this is, how things are. Okay. So with respect to that, now the point I say is that when you people read the policies or the rules, I mean, don't go by the flavor of it. We have to understand what lies in between and how we can use those policies to enable your operations. Okay. Now we have eminent panel with us. They will give you their views, and I will start with Group Captain R.D. Sharma. He will tell you, that how these government policies for government use cases, otherwise use cases, I mean, how does it affect the operations, and how can it help you? I would request each panelist to spend about 5 to 6 minutes for intervention, so that we have some time available for question answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such a lovely introduction to the topic of the day. See, the drone ecosystem in India is still evolving, and it is at a very nascent stage, and it has a very far way to go to reach the technological levels of the Ukraine war. Our policies need to keep pace with the development, and not only to keep pace with the development, but I suggest to be ahead of the development. And as sir pointed out, the policies were made to negate flying of drones rather than enabling the use cases. But with the change of framework, what policy recommendations, I feel should be that regulatory framework should be structured to ensure ease of compliances rather than create difficulties in complying to it. Then we need infrastructure development. We need to have a drone-friendly infrastructure to enable this ecosystem to develop. Then the most important aspect of skill development, finding skilled manpower. And the skilled manpower needs to be developed right from school onwards. And interest in the drones have to be brought in. Security and safety. That was the aspect of the entire negativity in the policy. So we need to implement a robust security measures that ensures data protection and establish a safe operating procedures. About the technological advancements, so a lot of speakers have spoken a lot of things about these technological advancements, like the autonomous systems, AI powered drones, swarm technology, advanced sensor, and even cyber security, which was spoken to by one of the speakers in the previous sessions. There are some very potent lessons to be learned from the Ukraine war, like the tactical drone deployment. That means the drones are deployed in the field to be launched at short notice and achieve the aims that are required to be, the war aims that are required to be achieved. They are needed for real-time intelligence in the battlefield. They are needed for precision strikes in the battlefield. Then there are counter drone measures that are required. Then integration with the existing military setup, what General Mann just covered, the entire ecosystem has to integrate with the existing military setup, and most of the technology is dual use, military as well as civil use. Now the Indian initiatives we know, Air Marshal Bedi talked about the Drone Rules 21, then the PLI schemes on drones, then Indian drone innovation forums are there, the DRDO programs and the Army ADB programs. And then there are state level policies that have come up recently, like the UP government has initiated a state level drone policy, and Karnataka and some other states are in the process of doing it. So what are the challenges now that are being faced? So I would say the regulatory hurdles happens to be the biggest challenge, which General Mann mentioned that they have taken great steps to overcome those regulatory challenges and finding ways around it to enable the drone ecosystem to develop in various ways, especially the component level. So when the army is promoting the component level development indigenously, I think we are on the right track. Then the infrastructure constraints. Now people do not know where to fly the drones, where to test them, where to do, whom to speak to. So it was a very enlightening information given by General Mann for everybody's knowledge that yes, the army is enabling it for all the people, and they are also organizing these trips to the high altitude and such areas for people to experience what these areas look like. What was in the civilian domain, most of us are not even aware what a high altitude looks like or what a high altitude gives you. The funding and investment is another big challenge which has been addressed in a large manner by the army. Plus, there are other government schemes which are enabling it. It may be minuscule, but there is still something to look forward to. Talent acquisition and retention. Now, with the large number of drone companies coming up, so the firstly acquiring talent, training them, and then retaining them is actually a challenge which all the companies face. Cyber security is a big concern. I would say by addressing these challenges and staying ahead of the technological advancements, we can utilize the full potential of this drone technology and enhance this drone ecosystem to a level where we achieve the levels that have been seen in the Ukraine war. And there are various use cases, as we were talking about the use cases. What we see as major use cases, I would say, like surveillance, law enforcement, border patrol, disaster management, etc. Then there is a mapping, agriculture is a big sector, infrastructure inspections, environmental conservation like wildlife tracking, forest areas, disaster reporting, and medical delivery. These are some of the key use cases that I can foresee which can find a very big traction in the Indian market. So the industry specific use cases, I would say, would be construction, mining, oil and gas, railroad inspections, tourism, education, real estate, and there can be many more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Group Captain Sharma. Yeah, no, obviously regulatory challenges, remain. You make out one rule. There are people hoodwinking, for personal reasons, for economical reasons, and the mindset. What happens is with this drone policy, it is unfortunate that the people who are going to break the rules actually are not going to read the policies. They are street guys, or some marriage vendor guys, or he doesn't even know. You ask a photographer who's doing photography that how much this drone weighs, and do you know the drone policy that up to what weight can you fly without license? I mean, he has no clue. He's hired on a daily basis, and he will fly whosoever gives him whatever. So if I want to misuse this person who knows how to fly drone and tell him that okay, you fly this drone, I mean, he's not gone through drone policy. He's not going to ask me question, okay, sir, how much does this weigh? Am I permitted to fly this or not? So education is going to be a big challenge in our culture, where people can't be stopped to cross a red light or, overspeed or drive on the wrong side of the road just to avoid 100 meters of U-turn. I'm not joking. Okay, educated people. The other day, there was accident in Gurgaon. One young 23-year-old guy lost his life because one SUV decides to drive on the wrong side. Okay, and people who are aspiring to lead the country, I mean, that is a kind of challenges that we have when we talk of following drone policies. Okay, you have policy demanding, that okay, all drones will have go to home function. Okay, it is mandatory that you must have a go to home function. That means if someone jams you or someone, some disruption takes place, the drone should return to its home position. And now I read somewhere, I mean, the application of that, what people, if I want to strike a target, I can plan the home as target, the target as my home. Means now I launch it and you disrupt it, jam it, or do whatever it is, its go to home gets activated, it still will go to the target. Okay, so you have to cater for these kind of challenges. Anyway, and on next online we have Wing Commander Punia with us, very passionate professional, and has been associated with Drisha, a company, public sector company of Haryana, and I'll ask him to intervene on the subject. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, audience. Regarding drone policies, how they are helping, General Man, regarding Army's support in this field, needs no further elaboration. How Army is helping out us through ADB in hand-holding as well as in developing these technologies. Sir, in similar way, Air Force and Navy also are doing through IDEX. And in Air Force, I would say, Mayor Baba competition, which is a very important competition for Air Force. In the swarm technology, Air Force took the lead 4 years back, and today where we are in swarm technology, and the prize money was 10 CR at that time. That was the kind of support which government through Air Force extended to industry in this direction to develop in this case. So defense is doing its bit. And coming to civil, to start with DGCA, it was a very small setup if we look just about 3 years back. Their expansion now is 10 times. They started, as sir mentioned, that with the negative aspect that this should not be done, this should not be done. And then by 2021, they came with a policy where this all should be done. Now they are moving further ahead in hand-holding, in every aspect, in everything. DGCA is very much approachable. Again, initially the course curriculum which was developed was very, very basic in nature, 5 days course. Now they have already given tasks to various agencies to make a program for conducting training in various fields, like specialized training for mapping, then in for agriculture, then in for mining application. The same way in other all applications. That is what the DGCA is doing. Not only this, if we talk about, sir, anti-drone systems, day before yesterday, I was at BCS to attend a meeting. So BCS has formed a committee, ARDTC, Anti-Rogue Drone Technical Committee, comprises of all stakeholders. And that the stakeholders include NSG, DGCA, BCS, CISF, BSF, special forces, uh, this committee and many others, there are about 15 members in this. This is under MHA. In this, to facilitate people, to facilitate industry, what they have done is, since there are till now there are no very fixed standards in this anti-drone systems, what they have said is, whatever you have, you set your specs. We will check those specs for you, and then we'll say this much you can do, so that anybody who wants to use these anti-drone systems now has a certification from the government that this system is capable of these capabilities. Next week, in October, as a use case, uh, two companies which have which have recently passed their ARDDC test, are deploying their equipment at Jaipur airfield, where they will actually be doing the field testing. So this is how the government is trying to facilitate industry in the field of drones, and when a technology is developed, obviously its counter also will develop, as well as the anti-drones. Coming to state governments also are doing their bit. There are not many, but a few, like as sir mentioned, which includes Haryana also, which has their own drone policy, where they try to help out people how this equipment can be used by giving special SOPs, maybe for agriculture, maybe for surveillance, or those kind of actions are on. At the same time, in training, if we talk about programs like Drone Didi program, government has come up to empower women in this field. So all these awareness programs are there to empower people to come out in this technology. And as Man sir has mentioned about indigenization, this is a big step from government side, though there are not too many checks and balances at present, but with the intention of government itself for this, in due course of time, I am sure with time, those checks and balances will also come. People who are doing white labeling, in due course of time, that will be stopped. Actually, indigenized product will come into the market. In drones, if we talk about the critical technologies, say the flight controller, which is the main, I would say, etc. It should not be like 60% or 70% indigenization, but at least those critical components, sir, they should be 100% Indian. Yes, there are presently roadblocks that we, like if I take an example from the flight controller itself, like in the market, the flight controllers which are available, say Pixoc and all, they are 7-layer flight, 6 to 7 layer flight controllers. PCBs there, I am talking about their PCBs. Whereas presently we don't have that kind of infrastructure, but in our case, we may have a PCB where all those functionalities are available, but not in 7 layers, maybe in 2 layers. So I suggest, sir, for basic purposes, to promote the industry, we should help those kind of companies, those who have those kind of setups, those who have made those kind of components, should be encouraged by giving them chance to start their sale with the setup, and to prove their product. In due course of time, I'm sure if they have today developed a 2-layer, tomorrow they will be available with 7 layers also. But if today they will not be given chance, they will never be able to come up with those kind of requirements which we wish we should have in due course of time. That is my small submission to you, sir. Thank you, sir. I am not taking much of time.
Thank you. Very important interventions to say that, we have to indigenize at the component level, and the policies and the change, very important change has already come, where they have gone into this component level. And good that, a committee is formed. I am just reminded of a small anecdote. They said committee, somebody described a committee, and he said camel is actually a horse designed by a committee. They brainstorm too many things and something comes out. But what happens is component level indigenization. Now it was noticed that earlier when we came on this Indian content, how was Indian content defined? 50%. You said this product must have 50% Indian content. And how did you measure it? By cost, because there was no other way to do it. It was difficult to define that which part is more important than the other, and it was assumed that more important part must be costing more. I mean, it's a common sense, right? So if 50% is Indian content, and we presume that at least 50% important parts should be Indian in that. But the biggest pitfall of that was the cost of the product was not controlled by government. Cost of the product was being controlled still by the vendor or by the private or the businessman. So let's say if I was a businessman and I was to produce this pen, I couldn't find anything, in Indian market of this. I imported things worth 100 rupees, okay, which were foreign in nature. So if I want to pack this pen now for Indian consumption, the default cost of this pen becomes 200 rupees. If I want to qualify for even tender, because 100 रुपए का सामान फॉरेन से है, so now 50% Indian content, this must cost 200. Only then can I say that 50% is Indian. And what will be that 50%? My salary, my equipment, my shop, my blah blah blah, whatever you have to say, but nothing contributed to this. This is what was realized slowly, and they realized that no, you have to get into component level, and now they've started asking question. Earlier, in that zeal to quickly do things, if someone came and said कि okay, this is made in India, nobody really asked, okay, where are you making it? Let's go and see your factory, where is it being produced? And it became a joke that white labeling, what is it talk, and people were joking that actually to achieve good made in India, all you need is a good quality die, which can conceal made in China and put made in India over that. I mean, it people jokingly said that. So it had reached that kind of level where the government had to become very strict, and I'm sure General Mann must have faced, or his predecessors must have faced this challenge, that how to really get into this and give people create a deterrence, so that you see, you can't examine everything. You have to create deterrence, that people should be deterred कि अगर पकड़ा गया झूठ बोलता हुआ तो then I'm done for life. That kind of deterrence has to be created for people to follow rules and regulations, okay, because punishment does not work every time, okay. It is the fear of getting caught 100% is what works the best, okay. Now you have heard two Air Force officers, and let me come to Mr. Karan Dol, and he'll give you a different after that, okay. So I want to give break from services to a different perspective, and I've been watching him, earlier in the day. A very jovial, very pleasant personality, and very pleasant disposition, I must say. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
kind words, sir. So, at the outset, I'd like to say I'm very grateful to the efforts of the government of India, whether it's the defense forces or the civilian government, with regards to what they're doing for the drone industry. Single-handedly, this 100% indigenous content, this is going to give a boost to multiple industries, right from the battery industry to PCB industry to software, GCS manufacturing, all of these sectors. Apart from that, I'd like to say that with the coming in of the geospatial policy, where now Indian companies are allowed to hold geospatial data at a certain resolution, this combined with the drone policy and the PM Gati Shakti scheme, where 28 ministries and departments in coordination with each other are doing master planning. So this involves rural, urban, forest, you name it. All the departments, railways, roadways, they're all connected. Now, the minute you get into this level of minutia when it comes to data and the collection of data, the largest opportunity I see that the government of India has created is for watershed management. Because, ladies and gentlemen, to my mind, the biggest problem that not just this country is going to face, but all countries are facing is water scarcity. And like Yogita ji mentioned in the morning, we've gone from greening our cities to blackening them with roads and concrete and stuff like that. So until we start working on reversing that, and to my mind, drones are the single largest force to enable us to do that. How? When you do a drone-based survey, you're creating a 3D replica of the terrain, as opposed to the traditional survey method of working of contour maps, which is an approximation. Now, once you have this 3D twin, the digital twin, you can actually simulate and replicate how water would flow. And thereby you can handle hydrology problems, soil problems, erosion problems, flooding problems, and route all in one. So to my mind, the largest opportunity, and the reason I'm bringing this up as an opportunity is, like in the earlier session we mentioned, the Cabinet of India earlier this month took 7 major decisions totaling to 13,000 crores with digital agriculture and all of those things. Around 3,000 crores is specifically for water management. So to my mind, this is one of the single largest opportunities as far as being able to do something sustainable in the survey and services space is concerned. As far as manufacturing is concerned, the PLI scheme is being extended. More and more companies are being brought into the fold. Like General Mansab mentioned, there are various schemes like Aditi, IDEX, and all. Like Punya Saab mentioned and Bedi Saab mentioned, you've got the Meher Baba competition and the IDEX and things like that. So, to my mind, it is now very clear, not just in the minds of the central government, but every state. In fact, it's my pleasure to tell you, I visited a few states in central India last couple of weeks. And it was all related to drone Didi and how do we this thing. And what really made me happy is for the first time I heard people from the state saying, not saying the acha policy kya hai, kya milega, nahi. They said कि ये तो सेंटर कर रही है, इसके अलावा हम और क्या कर सकते हैं, लेट्स बी अ फोर्स मल्टीप्लायर. सो नाउ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इज there is this enthusiasm coming along on how do we adopt this technology. And to my mind, drones is the equivalent of IT. People keep saying, oh, drone sector will be worth so much in so many years. I don't agree with any of those estimations. I think they're way below the reality. Why? If in 1998 you asked anybody, the best experts in the world, what is the IT sector worth? Whatever figure they gave you is not even 1/10 of the Indian IT sector today. So, it's an exponential path. There's no limit, there's no ceiling. I mean, we can fly and soar as far as we want, unlike the drones, which are limited to 18,000, 20,000 feet. So opportunities are endless, and I'd leave it up to Man Saab to elaborate more on the defense side, army side, policy initiatives and opportunities for drones. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And now I would request Dr. S.K. Munjal. He's from here. He's ADG ASI. That how do the policies and the things help the survey part?
Thank you very much for inviting me in this really great exhibition and also the discussion in the drone policy. I'm from Archaeological Survey of India. Most of them are aware of the work of Archaeological Survey of India. We are in the two part of managing Indian heritage, like Taj to many of the monument either in the Delhi, across the country. Apart from, and you all know the terrain from right from the Ladakh to the whole country, we have more than 4,000 monument protected by Archaeological Survey of India. Equally, the state government has also protected those monuments, and we are responsible for management and conservation, etc. As far as drone technology is concerned, actually last 4-5 years, I'm deeply try to understand the use of the drone, particularly in the different sector, either in the archaeological field like exploration, excavations of the mound, and also the management of monument, because monument having the various component like documentation of the monument, managing surrounding area for illegal constructions, and also the detailed management of landscape, the water management system. So there is n number of the problem and also need of Archaeological Survey of India, particularly managing the monument. So, but unfortunately, there is no SOP for use of the monument, use of the drone in the monument, and also the drone which technology is really permissible for the use of the monument. So there is no SOP for our department. So always we confuse that whether we can use drone in everywhere or every monument or within the monument or some of the this is the one of the problem we are facing to use the drone, particularly in the sometime not only the one time documentation, but it's need day to day documentation or day to day management or inspection of the monument. Like a monument is 20-meter tall, or so there is very difficult to go every time at the top to see the problem in the monument, like cracks or vegetation growth, etc. So that need to fly the drone and also to have a look of the problem of a particular monument. And also even the we have done in collaboration with our one of the expert here of drone so geometrics. So we have done some of the excavation to document that and also make the ortho plan, contouring planning, and also the documentation, 3D documentation, various component by the drone. And nowadays the LiDAR drone and also the other GIS technology with the drone is really very helpful for exploring the archaeological site and management of heritage. So I'm not very good. I don't have the very good understanding of the policy of the drone, particularly in the uh, central government department or in the state government department. How can we use a drone in day-to-day work in Archaeological Survey of India? So I have seen a variety of drone, particularly either in the use in the agriculture field or use in documentation, etc., which is there in the either right from the smaller drone to the larger drone also. So we really confuse that which drone is applicable or which drone we can easily use in monument or not. So there is huge potential for use of the drone, particularly in the management portion of heritage. And it's a dire need for like Archaeological Survey of India and also the other archaeological department, either in the state level or in central level. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's very important. I mean, I wasn't really aware that you have this limitation. And I'm sure it must form recommendation of this event. And I will myself take care. I'll get in touch with you. Probably I can write at the right forums to bring out this point, which is important. That yeah, you should have that clarity. I mean, I would on the lighter side say start conducting celebrity weddings in your monuments. You will have a lot of drones flying probably. You can do survey during that. Anyway, now coming to the last, ladies and gentlemen, we have General Maan with us. Just to tell you, I find you guys are very lucky. When I joined service, for 10 years into my service, I hadn't seen a general next to me live, okay? And he's here today. He has traveled from army headquarters. Let me tell you, he's eaten up into his work time and he'll have to go back and work probably till 9 in the evening or maybe longer to just do what he should have been doing there to be with you. A big round of applause for his mere presence here. And I would request you to intervene. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, you have already heard me. So far as the army, the applications or the opportunities lie within the army. I'll just cover 2-3 points which have now come up during the panel discussion. The first one being, sir, about the components to be developed. Like I mentioned, you gave the example of, say, the flight controller. I gave about 4 or 5 of them. Anyone who wants to develop any component indigenously, whatever is the funding required, please propose to us. And we will, like I mentioned, we have different means available. We will surely like to then fund it and get that component developed indigenously. So that is a given thing. Of course, we have to go through those procedures and all. But don't worry about that. We'll find the optimum route and how to develop it. Okay. Secondly, sir, what you mentioned about the indigenous content, very rightly brought out, a very big challenge, because and this has been a matter of concern, matter of deliberation, but then no foolproof method actually emerges that how do we really verify whether it is 50% actual indigenous content, that actual value addition, apart from the overheads, whether it is a bijli ka kharcha, pani ka kharcha, labor, salary, wages, rental charges, and only that, or is it something more than that? However, what recently has been done is there's an amendment to the defense acquisition procedure of 2020, which has been taken out in the month of April, wherein that the 50% of this 50%, which means the overall 25%, has to be at least in terms of the raw material, software, and the manufacturing process as such. So these three things, it has to be proved that the 25% at least the expenditure has been incurred on this of the overall. So that is to start with, and I'm sure as we go through it, as the procedures keep evolving, as we keep experiencing the various issues, we keep addressing them, this is going to only increase slowly. So that is how over a period of time, I'm sure that we will find that more amount of the indigenization coming in. And lastly, while I mentioned to you about the various kinds of applications, but in military what happens is that for every technology, there is a counter technology. And there's always a race between the two. At any point of time, one of them is ahead, but when will the second one get ahead? Nobody knows it. They keep leapfrogging. Okay. So when the drones have come in, now there are counter drones also. So therefore, since here we are talking more of the drones, so what is important is two aspects for those who are dealing with the designing and development of drones from the military point of view. Firstly is to reduce their detection capability. That means to reduce the radar cross section. So therefore having various kind of stealth measures so that the signature as such gets reduced both in terms of its shape, size, and also the electronic signatures. The second part is that while say we may try to reduce, but it will invariably still get detected at some point of time. Once it gets detected, it's going to be then say, engaged by whatever, whether it is in terms of jamming or spoofing, or as a hard kill, whether soft kill or a hard kill. Hard kill is in terms of laser weapon systems or high power microwaves. So we need to have our material of the drones, of its airframe and the other things in that, of such a nature which is actually able to attenuate the effect of that laser. So that is a challenge actually in terms of an advanced material to be developed, or some kind of say coating or some kind of spray on those materials, so that it's able to actually attenuate the effect of those the lasers, and similarly for the high power microwaves for the electronics part of it. And once again, I thank everyone for the patient hearing earlier and even now also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jalman. Now I'll not take any more time to sum up anything. We will just take 2-3 questions for time. Yes, please, sir. No, वहाँ पे.
Namaskar, my name is Hari Gupta and I am based in Dubai. And we are a fund which is a 100 crore fund to invest in Indian companies. My few questions are with the esteemed panel. What are the ranges of the drone which are produced in India for battery operated as well as engine operated? This is first thing. Secondly, if we are able to bring high range drones to India because of various regulations, we can't import, test, or how we can produce them. And last, is there any program called public-private partnerships where we can work together to bring the latest technology into India and made in India products to make it international? Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very relevant and good question. We are entering into a joint venture with the Russian companies. SCAT is the number one company in Russia, probably in the world. So we have found a way to do it, and we are actually doing it. The joint venture has been signed, and we start production by early next year. So, if you want to get into details, I can share those details with you offline after this discussion is over. But the government lays down the procedures and ways to do a joint venture in such a sphere for getting technology transfer. But it has to be a complete transfer of technology and make in India. So, what we have planned is to do up to component level, everything will be made in India only. Thank you.
Actually, it's very easy to say make in India, but like when there are high range drones or the high capability drones, especially in the military segment, it will take years to go to that route. So till then, we have to be little bit flexible to get it done, to bring it to the ground. We should not be too difficult on that part.
No, actually, you're right, and that's the reason, considering the present status of our industry, their capability, that the aspect of indigenous content has been limited at 50 or 60% only, and not going beyond that. That is to permit that, yes, of course, while there will be some sort of some components or some part of it for which we will be dependent on the foreign OEMs, and that is where the JV part comes in, so that you manufacture over here, while some of it still maybe the technology part is say coming from there, and slowly, like I said, it will start increasing. But to start with, it is to facilitate the JVs only at getting the foreign technology into the country.
Sir, what I would like to say, like say we take a layman example of a computer, the whole body, everything might cost a couple of $1,500, but the CPU may cost few $100s, and it keeps on increasing. So same is in this kind of cases, the processor or the technologies or the softwares which are of that kind of capability, it might be not fit into that kind of value addition norms.
So it's like this. You have to strike a balance. Question here is not only the product. It is a balance between national security and growth of the country, right? Now, let's say if you don't have this policy strictness, it's easy for me, and I will say I just can't do it. It just can't be done. That is what has been happening. So why is it that India is not yet able to make a propeller or a battery or a ECS or this, etc. Right? Because there was no requirement to make that, and there was no strict instructions to do that. Indian services or armed forces are well aware of that what is the minimum or core equipment required for national security. And if you were following the news, the next designated chief of air staff as vice chief is on record saying in a seminar that Atam Nirbharta is very good, but it will not be tolerated at the cost of national security, and you guys need to wake up. He was addressing DRDO laboratories that don't sleep over it. While we want Atam Nirbharta, but we want national security also. So you can't take very long in developing these things. So this pressure is being maintained basically to tell industry and to people that you need to wake up and it has to be done. So you're not going to have free run that just keep importing and keep selling and keep making your profit. We will do that when required, and probably G to G route. Then we don't, if I have to import it from abroad, then why do I need you? I have government people, we will go directly talk to them and take the stuff. Rafales 2 squadron came, right? Means if they were required, they were required. So, but if you have to make profit, please pull up your socks, start making, do hard work, do certain things. I think that is the central principle. Now, I may not be able to exactly satisfy what you are wanting to know, but more discussion offline, probably we can indulge in this, right?
Something on this. I'll just take a minute on this. In line with the government policies, we means I'm associated with one of the accelerator, that is India Accelerator, where we are developing in-house ecosystem, be it drone system, be it anti-drone system. As mentioned, for any system there is going to be counter technology, and जैसे ये डेवलप होगा दूसरी और डेवलप हो जाएगी, again development is there. Till the time we don't have things in-house, there is no permanent solution. to address this thing, we have developed an ecosystem where we are joining many companies in ourselves. Like if I take example from drones, we have identified a company that company is good in electronics. We have asked them to go ahead in electronics. This company is good in electrical parts. We have asked them to go ahead with the motors. This company is good in carbon fibers. We have asked them to go ahead and carbon fiber making propellers. So that way, we at our level, with the help of government policy, taking cue from there, are in a process, already in a process, to develop an ecosystem in India. This is through India Accelerator, where we are mentoring these companies how to build this ecosystem in India, be it drones, be it anti-drones. Again, in anti-drones, we need companies to make radars, different kind of radars. Presently, we are just talking about ISM band, jamming ISM band. Obviously, enemy is not going to come in that band. It is going to be coming other than the ISM band. So, till the time we keep dependent on others, we will not have anything of ours. So, to address all those kind of issues, we need to have our own technologies here. Be it after transfer of technology, that is fine. But we need to have things here. Make in India for India. Thank you, sir, for giving me a minute.
If I may, हाँ जिस आपके पॉइंट को मैं दो भाग में रिप्लाई करूंगा. पहली बात, आप प्रोसेसर इंपोर्ट कर लो, बाकी इंडिया में बना लो. लाइक सर सेड, मिनिमम 50% होना चाहिए. सॉफ्टवेयर इंडियन होना चाहिए. सॉफ्टवेयर बाहर से नहीं आएगा. करेक्ट सर. दूसरी बात सर, जो टीओटी की बात कर रहे हैं, टीओटी में सपोजिंग 100 यूनिट सप्लाई करने हैं, तो योर फर्स्ट 25 यूनिट्स कैन बी सेमी नॉकडाउन यूनिट्स, provided that during the course of the contract you will indigenize everything based on the kind of tender in the situation, again based on the product. बस यही कहना था सर. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, yeah. No, I just wanted to tell him, now that you said you got 100 crore rupees, a lot of these people are going to catch you out. Thank you, please. Yeah, you need to be answering questions, Narak, not asking questions. Yeah, that's why your mic is not working. You see, it knows.
Sir, food for thought for us. Recently, Ministry of Civil Aviation formulated a policy on VTOLs and vertiports. Now, there were no trials carried out. When I look at FA, EASA, we are talking of a policy. We are talking of India becoming a drone hub. So, without the trial-based formulation of regulation is not going to take us forward. So, I think that part needs to be deliberated on us, because picking up a template from the Western world and adopting it is going to be a limitation. The second part I feel we need to deliberate deeply on is what we formed a UTM policy. So civil military UTM, I think we need to delve deep into it, because our BVLS, everything is going to depend on the thing. So these are the 2 points I think for your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have the indication now here, so we will not carry on further. Thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. May I request you to give a hand to our panelists who... thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sure. Thank you so much, everyone, for your valuable time. I would request everyone to kindly stay on the stage for just another minute. And now I request Air Marshal G.S. Bedi to kindly present a token of appreciation to our esteemed panelists. Okay, so first up we have Major General C.S. Maan. Next is Group Captain R.D. Sharma. Keep it going for everyone. Next up, Wing Commander Giriraj S. Punia. Dr. S.K. Munjal. Shri Karan Dhol. All right, and now I would request Major General C.S. Mann to kindly present the same to ABM GS Bedi. Sir. Like, once again, can we have a huge round of applause for all the lovely panelists? Thank you so much, everyone. And now I would like to call Dr. Pranay Kumar on the stage. I request Dr. Pranay Kumar and Air Marshal G.S. Bedi to kindly showcase the entire drone exhibition to Mr. Mann here. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. Can we have a huge round of applause for that wonderful panel?